The world has a problem. It depends on a single narrow stretch of water for nearly a fifth of its energy. And despite decades of planning, billions of dollars in investment, and some of the most ambitious engineering ideas ever proposed, there is still no real alternative.
The Strait of Hormuz is closed.
The Iranian military responded by threatening to close down the strait.
The Hormuz Strait?
The Strait of Hormuz. Strait of Hormuz.
The Strait of Hormuz is the most important oil choke point on Earth. And the uncomfortable truth is this: we can't replace it. To understand why, start with the numbers. At its narrowest point, the Strait of Hormuz is just 21 miles wide. But the actual shipping lanes? Just 2 miles wide in each direction. That's it, 2 miles. And through that narrow corridor flows roughly 20 to 21 million barrels of oil every single day. That's about 20% of global oil consumption, and nearly a quarter of all seaborne oil trade. But oil is only part of the story. The strait also carries around 20 to 22% of the world's liquefied natural gas, most of it from Qatar. Which means this isn't just a shipping route, it's a pressure valve for the entire global energy system. And here's what makes it even more critical. Around 84% of this oil flows to Asia, to countries like China, India, Japan, and South Korea. So when something happens here, it doesn't stay local. It spreads across the global economy almost instantly. So why not just build a way around it? On paper, the idea sounds simple. If one route is risky, build another. Move oil over land. Avoid the choke point. But geography has other plans. The Persian Gulf is essentially a giant cul-de-sac, with the world's largest oil reserves and the export terminals built to handle them sitting deep inside its basin. Which means every barrel has to leave through the same narrow exit, the Strait of Hormuz. To bypass it, you don't just need infrastructure. You need to move oil across entire countries, through deserts, mountains, and extreme environments, just to reach open water. And even when that's been done, it still isn't enough. Over the past few decades, countries in the region have tried to reduce their dependence on Hormuz. Saudi Arabia built the East-West pipeline. The UAE built the Habshan-Fujairah pipeline. Even Iraq has limited connections toward the Mediterranean. On paper, these look like solutions: backup routes, alternative exits. But here's the problem: scale. Even if every major bypass pipeline operates at full capacity, the numbers still don't work. Combined, they can only handle around 7 to 9 million barrels per day under maximum strain. But Hormuz carries over 20 million, which means more than half the supply still has nowhere else to go. And pipelines have another limitation. They can move oil, but they cannot replace LNG shipping at scale. Natural gas still depends on ships moving through the strait, so even a perfect pipeline network wouldn't solve the problem. It would only reduce part of it. So what if pipelines aren't enough? What if we go bigger? What if we build a canal? A second Strait of Hormuz. This idea has been proposed for decades. The most well-known version is the Musandam Canal, a massive project cutting through Oman's mountains. On a map, it looks simple, but reality is very different. The terrain isn't sand, it's solid rock. Mountains rising over 2,000 meters. To build a canal here would require removing billions of tons of rock at a cost that could reach hundreds of billions of dollars. And it's not just one idea. Over the years, multiple mega-projects have been proposed, from canals cutting across the UAE to massive routes through Saudi Arabia's deserts. But every version runs into the same problem: cost, terrain, and a geopolitical reality. No country is likely to allow a foreign-controlled artery for the world's most critical resource to be built through its territory, even if you could solve the engineering. You can't solve that because in the end, you wouldn't eliminate the choke point. You would just move it. But the biggest barrier isn't engineering. It's everything built around it. For decades, Gulf countries have invested trillions into infrastructure inside the Persian Gulf. Massive oil terminals, refineries, petrochemical complexes, entire industrial ecosystems. Facilities like Ras Tanura are among the most efficient export terminals ever built. They are optimized for speed, scale, and cost. To replace Hormuz, you wouldn't just need a new route. You would need to rebuild this entire system somewhere else. New ports, new storage, new supply chains, new infrastructure, and that's not just expensive. It's unrealistic at the scale required. There's also a simple economic truth. Nothing beats shipping. A single supertanker can carry around 2 million barrels of oil. To move that same amount by land, you'd need thousands of trucks or trains stretching for miles. Shipping is cheaper, more efficient, and scalable, which is why the global energy system depends on it, and why Hormuz remains so important. But there's a deeper layer here. The world hasn't just built supply around Hormuz. It has built decades of demand infrastructure around it too. Refineries in Asia, shipping fleets, port systems, all designed around Gulf crude flowing through this route for the next 20 to 30 years. This creates a timeline mismatch. Even as the world talks about energy transition, the infrastructure we depend on today is locked into this system for decades, which means Hormuz isn't just important because of current demand. It's important because of everything already built to depend on it. Then there's the geopolitical factor. Iran. Positioned along the northern edge of the strait, Iran holds a unique strategic advantage. It doesn't need to fully block the waterway. It only needs to make it uncertain through sea mines, missiles, drones, fast attack boats. Even limited disruption can create a powerful deterrent, because in global shipping, risk is everything. Insurance premiums rise, shipping slows, routes become unpredictable, and costs ripple across the global economy. But this creates a strategic paradox. Iran has the ability to disrupt the strait, but it also depends on it. As a major oil producer, Iran relies on these same waters for its own exports, which means the strait is both a weapon and a shared dependency. In times of conflict, it becomes leverage. In times of stability, it becomes a system everyone has an interest in keeping open. In times of crisis, the world does have backup options. Strategic petroleum reserves can release oil into the market, up to 6 to 7 million barrels per day temporarily. Other producers can increase supply. Alternative routes can be used. But none of these replace Hormuz. They only buy time, because the scale simply doesn't match. You cannot replace a system moving 20 million barrels a day overnight. So what about the future? Renewables, electric vehicles, clean energy. These are growing fast, but global demand is still rising, especially in Asia, China, India, Southeast Asia. These economies depend heavily on Gulf energy, which means Hormuz isn't becoming less important, it's becoming more central, which means the infrastructure built for today's energy system and the choke point it depends on will remain central for decades to come. So after everything, all the idea, all the investment, all the alternatives, we're left with a simple conclusion. The Strait of Hormuz cannot be replaced. Not because we lack technology, but because everything, geography, infrastructure, economics, and geopolitics, is built around it. Pipelines help, but they're too small. Canals sound ambitious, but they're unrealistic. Workarounds exist, but they're temporary. So the world keeps coming back to the same place. A narrow stretch of water, just a few miles wide, carrying the weight of the global economy. Because in the end, we didn't design this system. We inherited it, and for now, there is no real way around